Last hitting is one of the most important fundamentals if you want to carry your teammates and climb. But most players make a few critical mistakes that kills their CS numbers and cost them games. I'm a challenge coach, and if you just give me 9 minutes, I'll show you 5 easy to implement concepts that will instantly boost your CS and help you win games. But first, here's a quick example from the CS god himself, Chovy. Watch closely and spot what makes his farming so clean. He does an incredible job hitting every minion while squeezing out the maximum amount of pressure. And I would call this a near perfect laning phase. Chovy's perfect laning comes from mastering a few key fundamentals. The same ones I'm going to teach you guys in this video. So let's break down these 5 game-changing concepts that will boost your CS instantly. The first concept is one of the biggest game changers I've ever discovered when it comes to last hitting, and almost no one is doing it right. So stick with me. Last year, I was practicing my lane in 1v1 laning sessions with a different coach. And at one point, he said something that completely changed the way that I lane forever. Stop permanently hitting minions and start looking at them. I was autopiloting my last hits and I didn't know what to look at to understand which minions were dying next. So here's the rule. After each attack or anytime aggro shifts, pause for a second and look. See what's happening with the wave before you keep hitting. So now we need to know that we need to pause and look. What specifically should we be looking for? It's very simple. We need to figure out which minion is dying next, because if the minions die one at a time, it's easy to last hit them without missing a single minion. To do that, we need to look at our own minions. Specifically the casters and the cannon, because they are the minions that deal the most amount of damage. And the minions they are focusing will die the fastest. What are the tools that we can use to recognize which enemy minions they are targeting? We can look at their lasers, we can look at their body angle or their posture, because they will always be facing directly towards the target they're hitting. You can also look at the distance to their target, and as a final thing you can always look at which enemy HP bars are dropping the fastest. The reason why Chovy is able to last hit all the minions and trade onto Yone at the same time is because he's the fastest and best player in the world to recognize which allied minions are hitting which enemy minions. And that awareness gives him opportunities no one else can get. The next concept is incredibly simple but insanely powerful, and I learned this through playing hundreds and hundreds of games on the same champion. It's this: learn and practice your wave clear pattern. Every single champion has one, and once you figure it out, you will start hitting 6 out of 6 minions every single wave. For example, with my main, Syndra, this is what the wave clear pattern looks like. I pick up a melee minion with my W. I throw it into the casters with a Q to kill them. And then I drop the second Q onto the remaining melees to clean them up. These are easy to drill, and once you do, it becomes automatic. The third concept is another simple one, but it's a huge difference maker. Have you ever been in a lane and suddenly you're stuck in this awkward situation? 2 minions are dying at the same time. Your auto attack has a cooldown and you can only get 1. What do? Well, you lose a minion. It is what it is. But next time, we're gonna prevent this situation from happening. Like I mentioned before, the goal is to make the enemy minions die at different times. That way, you don't get forced into making a bad decision, and you can consistently secure every CS. This idea has a few levels to it. So let's break it down from level 1, beginner, to level 3, advanced. We're gonna start with the first level, which is for beginners. The easiest way to make sure minions die at a different time, just weaken a minion slightly so it dies before the others hit last hit range. This is what we call layering minions, and it works incredibly well. It's simple, effective, and immediately boosts your CS. Now we will move on to level 2, which is for intermediates. We go a step deeper. You can pull the wave slightly and position it in a way where your caster minions target the same enemy. This creates some kind of domino effect where minions drop one by one. Very clean and very predictable. And this makes it super easy for you to know which minion is dying next. You can simply focus your attention on the next one. Moving on to the final level, level 3. And this is quite advanced. We call this a setup. And this is where it gets really fun. A setup is a pre-planned sequence of auto attacks that layers the wave intentionally so you can last hit every single minion easily and create trading windows for trading upon the enemy laner. It's the exact technique Chovy used at the start of the video. He used a 3-2 setup where his own minions were manipulated to die after the enemies. That means that every single time that Yone needed to last hit a minion, Chovy has a free moment to out-attack the Yone. Over time, this will generate a very big CS lead since Chovy is hitting every minion for free and zoning the Yone of his minions. We're gonna move on to the 4th big concept, Has this ever happened to you? You're just taking things slow, farming it up, and the enemy walks straight past the wave, completely ignoring minions, just to zone you off and force a trade. And you just get completely pushed off the wave, you miss CS, and there's nothing you can do. Yeah, it happens to all of us. But there's a few simple things that you can do to prevent this from happening. This is the first tip. Stick with me. Most players, when they go for a trade, throw out all of their abilities and go for a full combo. Sometimes that works, but sometimes it doesn't, and that's a problem. Now your abilities are on cooldown and the enemy knows it. So you've got nothing left to punish them with, so they just walk up, pressure you, and zone you off your CS. Think of your abilities like a sniper. You take a shot, now you're reloading, and that means that you're vulnerable. What you should do instead is only trade with 2 out of 3 of those abilities and keep 1 for backup. So in the case you're still a sniper, you're now use your big shot, but you still got yourself a nice handgun in the back that can cover you for close combat. For example, with Syndra, a great trading pattern is with W plus Q, and you hold your E then for if the enemies try to walk up afterward, and you can then stun them or bump them away to disengage. Here's another underrated tip that almost no one uses. After trading with an auto attack, the enemy minions will now aggro you. You can use that to your advantage. You can walk backwards and drag the wave closer to your turret. Now the enemy cannot follow up without overcommitting. Now you're safer and you get to last hit without them being able to reach you. We're moving on to the 5th and final concept. When we talk about CS and last hitting, most people instantly think about the lane. But here's the truth. The majority of minions are actually missed in the mid game. And it's not because people can't last hit in the mid game, but it's just very simple. They don't know where to be up on the map. In my coaching sessions, and I've done over 700 this year, I consistently see the same 3 massive mistakes that kills player CS in the mid game. The first mistake is that players often rotate to side lanes where the wave is either too far away or already pushing away from them. We call this deploying to Narnia. It's inefficient, it wastes time, and it leads to missed farm. How do we fix that? Well, very simple. We just deploy through mid lane first. We can push the wave with our team, establish deep vision, and then rotate to the side lane. The second key mistake that I see everywhere is that players don't know when the next play happens. So what then happens is they start pushing a side lane and then a fight breaks out. Now they're stuck. Do they finish the wave, or do they drop the wave and do they rotate? And most people will abandon the wave and they'll end up losing tons of gold for nothing. How do we fix that? Well, before we go into any type of lane, we want to ask ourselves the question, when is the next objective? When is the next play? And we want to try to time our waves crashing just before the play starts, so we can be present at the play while having a good wave state. The third mistake is not fully crashing a side lane wave, and this is huge. If you half clear a side wave and back off early, it just sits in the middle of the lane and pushes away from you, and you'll lose so many minions over time. But if you fully crash the wave into the tower, the next wave will bounce back and slow push into you. That's a lot of farm, and it can be worth around 300 to 600 gold if you set up a slow push or a crash correctly. So if you're struggling to fully crash side lane waves, these are some fixes that you can implement. Number 1, ask your jungle or your support to hover you so you can push the extra side lane wave deeper to make it crash. You can also, before you fully commit into the side lane, rotate mid first to get priority and vision, and then transition towards the side lane wave with more vision and safety. You can also slow push the wave first, stack it up, and then hard push the next wave. So you can do a slow push into a hard push. Yes, slow pushing side lane waves exist. If you just apply these 3 tips, your mid-game CS will skyrocket. You'll find yourself richer, stronger, and in more control of the map. But if you really want to take this further and actually understand how to carry in the mid-game, you'll have to understand mid-game macro and how to close out games cleanly. And for that, I recommend watching this video right here.